Welcome everyone. You're watching a very special Viewer Speak edition on Headlines today. I'm Shivani Gupta. Australia making it very clear there's going to be a lot of chatter on the field when India meets them in the semi-final at Sydney. Already a lot going against them. Fans are going to be bleeding blue more than gold at Sydney Cricket Ground. The pitch hasn't really quite gone their way too. Now it's all about the mind games. I'm joined by Andrew Symonds, 2003 and 2007 World Cup winner, with me in the studio, and you can call and ask your questions and give your views directly to him. Also joining us from Sydney itself, the man who's tracking all the build-up to the big final before the final, Boria Majumdar, with fans both blue and gold, if I can see correctly. So we're going to have a battle between the fans with Boria in Sydney as well. Before we get to our first caller, why don't we go across to Boria and ask him, Boria, how is everyone taking this talk around sledging in Sydney? What do the Indians fans have to say?
You know what, Shivani? The talk about sledging, this is what you will get tomorrow from the Indian fans at the ground. Can we have the dhol, please? Because they're all ready. So, this is for Andrew specially. This is what the Indian fans will take to the Sydney Cricket Ground tomorrow, Shivani. This is the kind of atmosphere you will get at the Sydney Cricket Ground. This is quite unbelievable. This is not Sydney. This is what you will get at the fall of every wicket. Okay, let me get a first question. You know what? Andrew Symonds is in the studio in Delhi, and the Australians had said that they will sledge India. What is your question for Andrew Symonds, who's seeing you live?
75% of Indians will be there, like 40,000 is the capacity of 40,000, and there will be like 30,000 Indians. So I don't think they can do that. You know, do all the dhol and nagaras and all that thing.
So what is your question for Andrew Symonds?
Andrew Symonds, no, India is not the team you think it was like 4 years back. So if you sledge us, we'll reply back with more sledging, you know.
Okay. So Shivani, the question is, if the Australians sledge, the Indians will sledge more. This is a different India. Ask Andrew.
It's not the same India like before.
Absolutely. We've been reminded of that in the test series, the visuals of which we're running on the screen right now. A lot happened, Andrew, in that test series, and Indians gave it back. You think that's going to be the theme in this match as well?
Oh, look, I think there'll be some spirited exchanges tomorrow. I think it'll add to the spectacle of the game. Both teams are obviously very passionate about the cause here tomorrow. And it'll be very interesting to see how much is going to be used. There'll definitely be moments in the game, but the boys have just got to be careful. They don't take it too far. Someone ends up getting in trouble. I don't mind if they have a little crack at each other.
I'm going to ask Andrew, who is going to start all of this? If Australia's bowling first, which India wouldn't mind because they would like to bat first, Mitchell Johnson starting with the new ball, I think is going to start the proceedings as far as the sledging is concerned as well. We have our first caller on the show. Dipankar is joining us from Delhi. Dipankar, what's your question?
Yeah, so my question for Andrew is, like, Indian bowlers have taken most of the wickets through bouncers. So will it be a good idea to bowl bouncers to the Aussies?
Yeah, I think they will use the bouncer tomorrow. They've got to use it sparingly though. Don't overdo it, and use it as an impact ball. You know, you still got to bowl good lengths, and then every now and then you got to throw in a good bumper just to keep the batsman back in his crease.
ML Ravi is joining us from Trivandrum. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Andrew Symonds.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My question for Mr. Andrew Symonds.
Go ahead.
Mitchell Johnson, he has not been having a great World Cup so far. So is he just trying to come into news by sledging at least against India tomorrow? Or is he serious about the cricket that he is going to play to win?
And that's a good question, Andrew. Mitchell Johnson, you know, he was supposed to be the spearhead, hasn't really turned out to be that for Australia. Is it really that beneficial for him to concentrate on sledging or his own bowling?
I think he's probably doing it to stir himself up. He has had quite a quiet World Cup so far, but you know, if he has a big day out tomorrow, you know, that for the benefit of the side, he's just trying to find a way to stir himself up, I think, and get in the face and in the minds of the Indian players.
Let me just go across to Boria once again. Boria, the Indian flag is furling high. What do the fans feel there? Is Australia using sledging as a means to distract themselves from the fact that a lot else is going against them in the build-up of this match?
I will ask that question to a couple of people who are actually at the Indian nets today, bowling to the Indians. And with your permission, sort of throw two questions to Andrew. First to y'all. Y'all were at the nets today. Do you think the Australians are using sledging to sort of deflect pressure? And what's your question for Andrew? First to you and then to Manu.
The sledging, I don't think so it's going to be work because I think we're playing so good. And I think if anyone say anything, that's not a problem. Because the way Indian team playing, first, they haven't defeated like in whole tournament, and I think the way they're playing today, I think we had a practice last time as well with while Indian team is tri-series, and so it's gonna be a good match.
What's your question for Andrew?
My question for Andrew is Andrew, how are you? My question is who's gonna be the key bowler for tomorrow for Australia, and who's gonna be a lead wicket taker, Mitchell Starc or Mitchell Johnson?
Okay, and this lady also has one question. Shivani, I'll just throw both to you together.
Andrew, do you think Indian team has it mentally to give it back to Australia?
Well, that's a good
question. Do you
question.
have it back mentally to give it back to Australia?
Absolutely. That's what we've seen from these young boys. This is not the same team you played against, Andrew, isn't it? What do you make of these young Indian blood?
Yeah, they're feisty is the word I'd probably use. Yeah, they're not scared to have a bit of a chat. And look, if it works for them, you know, go for it. But you don't want to become distracted by it, and then it starts to affect the way that you're playing your cricket. And then the answer to the other question there, I think Australia's key bowler will be Mitchell Starc. I hope that Mitchell Johnson has a good day tomorrow as well, but I think Mitchell Starc's definitely the spearhead at the moment. He's getting the ball to swing at pace. He's doing quite a lot of damage with that new ball early on.
I'll talk about that man on your screen, David Warner. Remember, he had a few spats with the Indians in the Test series. He's under warning, so if he has another strike, he could well be ruled out of the final if Australia win. So they're taking it very cautiously. We'll also bring you what Michael Clarke had to say about that and Warner. But let me go across to Kolkata. Manogya Loiwal joining us there with fans. Manogya, what is the consensus with fans in Kolkata as far as sledging is concerned? Do they feel the Indians should indulge in sledging as well and give it back to the Aussies tomorrow?
Well, absolutely. The feeling is for Indian is almost everywhere the same. I'm here in Tired Patti where a lot of youngsters hang out during the day, and I would like to ask them, what are your questions to Andrew Simon in the studio, and of course, what do you expect out of the match tomorrow?
Okay, I expect a very good match tomorrow. I hope India wins. But the first question to Andrew Simons would be, which player do you think is the most threatful for the country?
Threatful for the nation,
amongst us. I quite like that question. Who's the biggest threat to the nation as far as the cricket is concerned, this game is concerned?
What is your expectation about this match?
What is your expectation about this match? So these three questions for Andrew Simons, and of course the women here all wooing for Virat Kohli. Let me tell you, they all expect that Virat will be the man of the match even before the match has been played. What are your expectations from the match this time?
I feel that India will win, and we won't give it back.
Won't give it back this again?
Though people are saying that Australia will win, but I know that India is going to rock it, and we know that MS Dhoni is the captain, so we are not going to lose it.
Well, a big statement, and of course, do you feel that this time it's not only about the team game, but more about the individual platform that every cricketer has got this time?
I think that under the captaincy of MS Dhoni, we will surely win this time.
Alright. How confident are you about the win? Because Australia has been a very strong team.
India has to win. India is India.
India is India. What about that? Yeah. And I want one song from everyone this time. Will it be Chak De or any other song?
Chak De.
Oh, go ahead.
Chak De, oh Chak De India. Chak De, oh Chak De India.
Well, one of them has a birthday today. It's Sanjana's birthday today, and everyone Sadhana's birthday today. And they have been saying that they need a return gift from her. With India winning the match, well, a lot of pressure on her, I would say, this time.
Absolutely. Well, everyone's gung-ho about this one. Really, in other words, this is the final before the final revenge match for India as well, because they didn't win a single match all through the summer in Australia, and perhaps this one win, if it comes tomorrow, is going to pay back for all of those losses. Why don't we listen to what Rohit Sharma from India's side and Michael Clarke, the Aussie captain, had to say about sledging earlier today.
It doesn't matter to us because if you look at the tournament, we've taken 70 wickets in 7 games. And it has been distributed by the spinners and the fast bowlers. So it doesn't matter how the wicket behaves.
I think the SCG in general is a really good wicket. I think it's normally even for both batting and bowling. So I think the fast bowlers will hopefully get a little bit of swing and a little bit of bounce out of that wicket. Then, as always, I think spin will play a part at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Do you guys, as the Indian team, believe you can get under the skin of Dave Warner and Shane Watson?
As a team, I believe we need to stick to our game plans, which is coming hard. And if there are a little bit of banters going around, so be it. There will be times where you will see our bowlers, fielders getting right on their faces. So yeah, there will be times. But as a team, we have to stick to our game plans and try and execute what we've been doing for the last 7 games.
David Warner risks getting suspended for the final if he's reprimanded by the match referee. Glenn Maxwell was saying the other day that David's not talking quite as much on the field. Have you noticed that? And has there been a sort of concerted effort to make sure he doesn't get rubbed out for a knockout game?
I haven't noticed one difference in Davey.
Is it a concern at all? Or?
Davey will be fine. He knows the rules.
Really? Is there really no difference between David Warner in the Test series and the one right now? We'll take that with Andrew. But Sufi is joining us from Bangalore. Sufi, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Simon.
Good evening.
Yeah, my question is, if tomorrow turns out to be a turning track, will Australia surprise us and go in with a spinner, considering that they have all their bowlers are fast bowlers?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't think that Australia will change their team because they'll have to drop one of their quick bowlers to bring in a spinner, and I don't think they need to do that. Maxwell can bowl, a good 8 to 10 overs, and then if Michael Clarke has to bowl, he can bowl a little bit of his left arm spin. He might bowl, 3 or 4 overs if the wicket is taking some turn.
Varsi is joining us from Chennai. Go ahead.
Can Mr. Stark's partner John Sandalwood can pressure India?
I didn't get that.
I couldn't quite understand that. Vasi, can you repeat that? All right, we'll try and take Varsi again. Now, Shumon is joining us as well. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Andrew. See, if you ask cricket lovers who is the greatest cricketer, most of them would say Sir Vivian Richards, and he never sledged. In fact, the greatest players of cricket, West Indies and South Africa, they never sledged. Then why do the Aussies are the masters of sledging? Is it because you have no confidence in your bat and ball game? Thank you.
We also had Sachin Tendulkar to that. He was quite a gentleman on the pitch. You played against him. Why do the Aussies feel the need to sledge, Andrew?
Oh, look, it happens. It happens in all teams. You're allowed to have a bit of a chat to the opposition as long as it doesn't get out of hand. And a lot of the great players didn't engage much in sledging, but everyone's got their different styles of playing, and some players use verbal as a style that they use to try and get under the skin of opposition players and get them distracted and thinking other things. So yeah,
but when you were in the dressing room, when you were in the dressing room, Andrew, was this really something that you discussed comprehensively? Who to target, what to say, how to target them?
Yeah, certain players we would definitely have a bit of a chat to, and that would be talked about in team meetings. We'd say, right, well, let's try and get under his skin when he first comes out to bat and see if we can unsettle him.
And you were one of the main weapons that Australia had in their sides, isn't it? Sanjay Nayak is joining us from Mumbai. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for Simo. Actually, what I think is, I think that Australians are a bit rattled. They are talking about sledging, about the pitch, whereas Indians on the other side are very quiet about all these things. They are concentrating on the game. So don't you think that this is going to be advantage India? Another question that I have is, what if India wins the toss? What should they do? Whether bat first or bowl first? Because we've seen that in the last 10 matches, 8 matches have been won on SCG by the teams that have bowled first.
I didn't really hear the first part of the question.
The first one was that, the Indians have been quite quiet in the build-up, but the Aussies have been talking about the pitch, they've been talking about the fans, they've been talking about sledging. Okay. Is it advantage India really?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just all media hype. I think everyone's getting a bit excited, and obviously the players have had to front the media and do a bit of a Q&A. So I think it's hype, most of it. It's a big game tomorrow and everyone's looking forward to it, and I think it's just part of the build-up. And the second part of your question about the toss, I think India, if they win the toss, they'd be mad not to bat first.
Yeah.
If you get runs on the board and a good total in a final, that can be to your advantage.
Absolutely. Tables, it seems, have been turned quite a bit as far as the build-up to this one is concerned. India acting like the home team, Australia like the ones, like the underdogs coming from outside. Kailash is joining us on the phone line. Kailash, go ahead.
Yeah, two questions, quick questions. Number one, Mr. Andrew Simons, how should India give it back the sledging which the Australian players are going to do tomorrow? And second question, how Mr. Andrew Simons is going to celebrate in the evening the India's victory over Australia? Very simple two questions.
Oh, look, the Indian players can give it back. That's fine, but as I said earlier, as long as it doesn't distract the way that you're going to play your cricket.
But who should they target in Australian team?
Oh, look, if David Warner's on his last warning, they should definitely have a crack at him. And then from there, you've just got to see how it goes. But he's opening too, obviously, so there's a good opportunity for them to have a bit of a chat to him before a ball's even bowled. They can try and stir him up. And then what was the second question?
How will you celebrate the Indian victory tomorrow, Andrew? That's what everyone wants to know. That's what the country wants to know right now.
I'll probably just have a nice curry and a cold beer.
with the Indian jersey on you, isn't it? That's what we have planned. If India wins, Andrew is going to wear the Indian jersey on our show post-match. So watch out for that. And of course, we are keeping our fingers crossed for an Indian win. Andrew thinks otherwise. The Australians have thrown down the gauntlet, saying they're going to sledge India in the semi-final tomorrow. Should India give it back, and how much? That's really the question we're debating. Our call lines are open. Boria Majumdar is still with us with fans in Sydney. Boria, you know David Warner closely. He's in the eye of the storm, so as to say, with 2 warnings against his name. Has been on the quieter side. And even Glenn Maxwell saying he's not chirping that much. How do you think he's going to approach this semi-final? Because the Indians could well attack him.
Even if they attack him, Davy is very much focused. I mean, I've had the chance of speaking to him yesterday when the Australians came to the ground, and he had that thread, hanging on him from the start of the World Cup. I don't think it will distract him. Michael Clarke dismissed that suggestion in the press conference today. Look, Shivani, this will be a humdinger of a game. I mean, even if the Indians go at the Australians or the Australians go at the Indians, I don't think sledging will decide it. I think quality of play will decide it, and both sides are in form.
All right, Boria, keep the fans with you. We'll come back to you in just a bit. But let's take some more callers. Abbas is joining us from Mysore. Go ahead.
All right, Boria, keep the fans with you. We'll come back to you in just a bit. But let's take
Abbas, just turn off your TV set.
Yeah, hi, madam. Hi, Simons. See, sledging is nothing like that. See, Australia always said. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Simons. Australians do sledging. What is this sledging? See, you should play as a split of a game. It's a game. Maybe India win, Australia win. It's not a matter of that. It is not a matter of that. We want a game to be played as a sportsman split.
All right, so the question really that Abbas is asking is if sledging kind of conflicts with the spirit of the game and the sportsmanship. Andrew, what do you have to say about that?
Oh, look, we definitely don't want that to overflow into the game. We want to see a spectacle. But look, in these big games, things happen, and there's certain tactics that teams are going to use. And if some players are going to have a bit of a chat to each other, well, that's the way it's going to be played. And there's nothing you or I can do about that.
Rasesh Mandani is joining us from Mumbai with fans. Rasesh, what does Mumbai have to say about this? Do they want the Indian players to give it back when it comes to sledging tomorrow?
Yes, Shivani, divided opinions. Some think sledging is commonplace. India does it as much as Australians does. The others believe Australians have always used this tactic smartly. Let's get a fan perspective straight up. The point that you're discussing is a lot of Australians have spoken about this being a verbal battle. This is a big game. You think the Indians will give it back as far as the verbal talk is concerned?
See, it depends on how majorly the Australians do it. If the Australians are doing it big time, I guess India should give it back. Obviously, it's at the end of the day going to ruin their game also. So I think India should definitely sledge if the Australians are.
Yeah, even I think India should do that. And in sledging wise, Virat Kohli is the person who is going to give a damn to will not give a damn to them, and India will take their place whatsoever the concern is.
Totally.
And he will score a few runs as well. Virat is the key player, you think?
Of course, Virat is the key player. He is one of the most assumed player who is going to score more number of runs in the match. He has outperformed well in the matches, a couple of matches, and we are going to. He is going to take India one step ahead in the match.
Tell me, is Australia raising this sledging issue notoriously, you think, or you think it will be a genuine tactic which will help them?
I think it's always been their strategy.
Yeah,
it's a strategy. It's been strategy since years.
Strategy will no more help them because India have got the correct.
Yeah, we have capitalized Rooney, who has always been calm and he has always helped his team. So I think.
And I guess India can make their way. India can win even without sledging. But if Australians are doing it too much, I think India should give it back.
Boria Majumdar, who has some ardent Indian fans with him, who are gung-ho about tomorrow's match, isn't it, Boria? The fans are going to dominate. Blues going to dominate at Sydney. The pitch didn't go the Australians' way. And who knows, the Indians might win the battle of sledging as well tomorrow.
Who knows? This India is a different India. And as Michael Clark says, you can hear the dhol at the background. There's a lot of festivity going on. As Michael Clark said, you can see the dance as well. Please, keep going. Beautiful. What's your question for Andrew Simons?
Hi, Simon. My question is, whom do you think will be man of the match for tomorrow's game?
Okay, man of the match for tomorrow's game. Here's another massive Sachin Tendulkar fan. Manu, what's your question?
Well, my question, first of all, I would say I'm going to miss my little master tomorrow. But my question is, who's going to be the key batsman for tomorrow's game? Shikhar Dhawan or Virat Kohli?
Okay, let me finish off with one question from myself to Simo. Is there anybody in this Australian side who is mentally fragile? Davey Warner, you guys keep talking about it. I know Davey is not fragile. Is there anyone? Is it Glenn Maxwell? Does Glenn Maxwell react to talk?
I probably can't answer that question as accurately as you'd probably like because I don't know Glenn Maxwell that well. I think what we will see though, I think the Indians will definitely have a shot at David Warner. As he's opening the batting, they've got a good chance to sort of hop into him sort of in the first over and set the tone there and see if they can upset him because he's on his last warning. So he's going to probably have to bite his tongue.
What about the key batsman for India tomorrow, Andrew?
The key batsmen for India are obviously, I think Rohit Sharma. He's got a very good record against Australia.
Yeah.
We need to get him out early. And then obviously Virat Kohli. But I think Australia's got a good plan for Virat Kohli. I'll be interested to see how he responds to that.
Boria, can we have a cheer, some dance and song from the dole there for India tomorrow?
Of course. Yes. Yeah, they want a cheer and a dance and a song. So go. Let's do it. Come on. You guys go for it. You guys go for it.
I'll just chant maybe.
Okay, go.
Jeetega bhai, jeetega!
Oh, jeetega bhai, jeetega!
India jeetega!
Oh, jeetega bhai, jeetega!
India jeetega!
Oh, jeet gaya bhai, jeet gaya!
India jeet gaya!
Jeet gaya bhai, jeet gaya!
India jeet gaya!
This is all over Sydney, Shivani. This is all over Sydney. There'll be a sea of blue. And if the Indians win, the party will just start and finish off in Melbourne.
I don't even want to go there, Boria. What will happen if India win? We'll just keep our fingers crossed and brace ourselves. Thanks a lot for joining us with the fans there at Sydney. Let me go across to some callers now. Aditya is joining us from Allahabad. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi Andrew. My question is, as a cricket expert, if you have to suggest Team India, how should they strategize against current Australian team with all its strengths, weaknesses and sledging? This is my question.
How would you strategize for India against this Australian team?
I think in a final, in a big game, it's very important to have a good start. So right from the very first ball, you want to set a tone. and then you want to settle into the game as quickly as you can. So whether India's batting or bowling, if they're batting first, they need to rotate the strike, look to knock the ball at their feet and get off strike. If they're bowling first, obviously look to take an early wicket and apply some pressure on Australia that way.
Vijay is joining us from Kolkata. Go ahead.
I'm good, sir. You'll answer my question. Yeah.
Okay, so Srikanth is joining us from Chennai now. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, my name is Srikanth. I'm calling from Chennai.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sledging has always been the Australian front line, like the tactic. They did it in the Carlton Mid series and it worked for them. India is not the kind of team it will sledge all the time. Yeah, but I guess Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli will get into the act very soon. The matches are going to get really heated up. But as far as sledging is concerned for India, the thing is
all right, we've lost that line, but I think he was talking about how some of the players in this team have shown the propensity to get under the skin of the opposition, and that's perhaps going to be repeated tomorrow as well. Rasesh is joining us from Mumbai. Rasesh, if I could take that question to fans in Mumbai as well, who do they think is perhaps a good target for India if they were to sledge the Australian team in the semi-final?
All right, I'll put that question straight to the fans, Shivani. You think if India has to give it back, if India has to do a bit of talking, considering that Australia is going to come hard, which is that one Aussie player that they should target, you think?
They will target Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma because Rohit Sharma is on form.
Who should India target, you suggest?
Who should India target?
Yeah.
India will target to Ricky Ponting the most because Shane Watson is the most targeted person because
he's the man who won the game against Pakistan. So you think that's the right way to go about it, is it?
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man who can take the game from our side, from us. So India should take care on that part.
Okay. And do you think India will need to sledge at all, or do you think India is playing good enough cricket to win it even otherwise?
Honestly, India is playing very good cricket. Our players are pretty much in form right now. There's no need for sledging, but obviously, if it's happening to us, we should give it back too. But I think India can pretty much win without playing any cheap tricks like this.
Is this a new idea? Is this the sense you get? Is this the reason you are more confident? That they are sort of ready for every eventuality?
India has proved itself time and again, I feel. And so I don't think they need to stoop down to such things, sledging and all, to make the other person feel weak and win. So
all right,
the game is seamless. It's good. They can.
Right. So some educated fans, Shivani, who think if Australia give it to India, they are good enough to give it back. But they're certainly playing good cricket, aren't they, right now?
Like Rohit Sharma said perhaps in the pre-match press conference, we'll stick to our plans, but that doesn't mean that we will not indulge in a few mind games on the pitch. Perhaps that's the balance that India needs to go for as well. Piyush is joining us from Pune on the phone line. Go ahead, Piyush.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
My question to Andrew Simons is, which will be the key bowler going into the semi-finals for Indians? And hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
We all saw what Wahabi has did to the mighty Aussies, and my question to you, Andrew, is that should the Indians wait for the Aussies to sledge and then give it back, or should the Indians go ahead and start sledging things first?
Actually, that's a good one, Andrew, isn't it? So much talk about sledging from Australia. Why don't the Indians just, take the lead on that and just turn the tables on Australia tomorrow? Would that be okay?
Yeah, look, everyone's getting a bit excited over this whole thing. It's a bit of media hype, and there was a few incidences in the Australian series. And look, if they want to go down that line, go down it by all means. But you've got to be careful you don't get yourself in trouble, and you've got to be careful that it doesn't detract from the way you're playing your cricket.
Yeah, and perhaps Virat Kohli would be one guy that the Australians would like to target. He's aggressive and gives it back and can lose his cool a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a feisty customer, and they might well try him out in a big game and see if they can get under his skin and get him to play a rash shot. So these are all things that we'll have to wait and see unfold tomorrow. It's a very exciting game of cricket. The thought of it's exciting. So all these little battles that go on within the big battle are going to be fascinating to watch.
Absolutely. I'm waiting to watch Mitchell Johnson against Shikhar Dhawan up front, and maybe even Rohit Sharma, who's usually unflustered and doesn't really indulge in a lot of this. But Shikhar Dhawan definitely will wear his heart on his sleeve. Rahul is joining us from Delhi. Rahul, go ahead.
Hi, Andrew. Good evening, and it is great to have you in India. My question is that it's been raining off and on in Sydney for the last couple of days, and the captain winning the toss tomorrow may go for batting first. But do you think the ball will hold up initially because of the rain?
Yeah, look, good question, Raul. I think that I said earlier that I think the team that wins the toss should bat first, unless the wicket is really damp, which it won't be. It's always well covered, and they look after the square very well there. I think putting runs on the board in a final and a good score is a way to apply pressure to the opposition. If you win the toss and elect to bowl and the opposition puts a big score on you, you sort of put yourself on the back foot a little bit psychologically as well. So you've got to take the initiative, be brave and go out there and try and put a big score on the board and then go and defend it.
All right, I believe Manish is joining us now on the phone line. Go ahead. Okay, we'll try for Manish once again. Andrew Simons live with us, and of course we're getting your views from across the country, and it's a bit of a divided house. Sledging, such a part of modern day cricket, isn't it, Andrew? And the Aussies obviously have had the lead in it. How successful do you think in your playing career do you think sledging was? I mean, did you really see the opposition disintegrate just because of this, or was it because of the quality that the Australian side had, the one that you played in especially?
Oh, look, a bit of both probably. You can use it as a tactic, but sometimes, you work out over time which players it works on and which ones it doesn't. Some players it can actually stir them up and make them play better, makes them more determined, and other players you can sort of distract them with it. So you've got to find the right man and the right balance, and then don't overdo it where the umpires need to get involved.
Right. I'm going to ask Andrew about his favourite moment of sledging on the pitch. So, Andrew, think about that while we take Ashwin, who's joining us from Telangana. Ashwin, go ahead.
Hi, Andrew. Glad to speak to you. My question to you is, Steve Smith is the Asian batsman. So, what kind of strategy India should apply? He scored very big in Test matches, and so that you can just explain the strategy.
I think the strategy India need to apply tomorrow is when they get a chance to attack, they attack. And then if they have to fend off and rebuild, they need to realise that moment as well. It's about the team that wins the big moments, the 50-50 moments tomorrow, will win the game. And I think also the thing that we saw in the South Africa-New Zealand match yesterday was the fielding. Fielding's such an important part of cricket. So you can't afford to miss your run-outs and drop catches. So fielding, very, very important also.
Nasir is joining us from Srinagar. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, Nasir, can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon, very good afternoon to all of you.
Yes, what's your
Hello?
question?
Yes. I don't think India will be clear favorites in this game because you see India is coming from a 3-month-long run where they have in Australia, and they have the advantage of the conditions, but they haven't won they didn't win a single game in the tri-series, which is going to be a big factor which will decide the semi-final, and the pressure of the added pressure of the semi-final, because you have already lost so much games against Australia in the past 1 or 2 months, and then you are playing against Australia in such a big game. So I think it's gonna be Australia which is going to play New Zealand in the final.
All right, India have been unbeaten in this World Cup, but the other side of it also is that they didn't win a single match all through the summer in Australia. Which one of these sides is going to be heavier? Is it going to be current form or facing a side like Australia that they didn't beat all summer? That's really the battle for India, and that's why we're calling it revenge match. If they get this one win, perhaps they can put aside the pain of the Test series and the one-day series. Perhaps it's another sign of desperation from Team Australia that they've employed the services of none other than Shane Warne to help them tackle the Indian spinners before the marquee clash on Thursday. The greatest leg spinner of all time, Warne was seen helping the Australian batsmen prepare in the nets earlier today. He had a long series of conversations with Captain Michael Clarke as well, who's been through a rough patch, of course, making a comeback into the team after injury. Australia will face Indian spinners Jadeja and Ashwin at Sydney, and the pitch there is known to assist slow bowlers, even though it will be a good batting track. South Africa's spinners Imran Tahir, JP Dumini recently took 7 wickets against Sri Lanka in the tournament's quarter-final. Shane Warne also visited the Australian dressing room, and it's learned that he gave them a pep talk to the team ahead of their crucial match against India. All right, before I take our final few callers, Andrew, what do you make of this? Shane Warne in the nets, in the dressing room. You've played a lot of cricket with him. He is a good pep talker, would you say? Generally, he's someone that would inspire the Australian team to, just a day before the match?
Yeah, he speaks well, Shane, and he's played a hell of a lot of cricket, and he's played in some big games. So having him come down and having him there and showing his support's probably a good thing for the boys as well. He'll obviously be working at the cricket, but it's nice that he can spend a bit of time with them. And then, as you say, the batsman can go and just talk to him about playing spin in big games, and just anything that they need to sort of bounce off him just to calm
Not
their
a tad
nerves.
late, would you think?
Oh no, look, I think he's just being friendly. He's very good friends with Michael Clarke as well, so he may have well just been down there to see him and to see how he's going as well.
And perhaps couldn't resist bowling a few, isn't it, to the Australian batsmen. We have a final few callers on the show. Ayub is joining us from Hyderabad. Go ahead.
Madam, good evening, sir. My question to Andrew Salmon. So, what Rohit Sharma has expressed in his view in press conference that India is going to be given back sledging. So my question to Rohit Sharma, go and play the natural game what they have played in the last 7 games. Instead of going for sledging, instead of going for Australian way, play like in Team India as a natural game. They are winning by not giving any sledging to opposition team. So they are playing the natural game. They are getting the results also.
To be fair to Rohit, Ayub, actually what Rohit said in the press conference was that we'll concentrate on our game, but there could be a bit of chatter, and I think that's the right way to approach the game, isn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think this is, as I said earlier, this is a bit of media hype, and you could see the media sort of poking the players there, asking if there was going to be some sort of confrontation. It mightn't even happen, but if it does, that's part of the game. As long as there's not an ugly scene and no one gets in trouble, look, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, well, just play good cricket.
Right, Saurav is joining us from Kolkata, not Saurav Ganguly, the Prince of Kolkata, I'm guessing, but someone else. Saurav, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, this is Andrew Simon.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
My question is, if India scores 350 plus and Australia get quite early wickets within 200, and Steve Smith is going to be most dangerous batsman tomorrow, especially because he has got a good record in IPL. He's played in IPL and has already mesmerized entire career against India. So do you think India should not only focus on Maxwell, but rather on Steve Smith?
Steve Smith or Maxwell, who should India target?
Oh, look,
they have experience in the IPL against Indian players.
Yeah, absolutely. They've played quite a bit of cricket in India now and against the Indians. So, yeah, they know each other very well. And obviously Australia have played India in the previous series. India have been in Australia for nearly 4 months now. So both teams know each other back to front and inside out. And both teams will be very well prepared tomorrow. They'll have plans for each individual. Maxwell, danger man, obviously. He can take the game away from you very quickly. But Steve Smith, yeah, he's the glue in the middle of that Australian middle order. He'll look to get in and then bat for as long as the overs allow him. Then the rest of the group will bat around him and they'll attack like that, I think.
Big match for Michael Clarke as well. He's been needing some runs since his return to the team. So it will be a test for the Australian batting lineup, as will be for the Indians as well. Andrew, thanks a lot for joining us. A big thanks to Manogia, Rasesh and Boria as well, who joined us with fans with them. That's all we have time for. Thanks a lot for watching.